Hi, my name is Pete Hahn, and thank you for watching this tutorial video. Be sure to visit www.hahn-tech.com for the full library of video tutorials. I hope this video increases your knowledge and helps you become more efficient with this topic, whether for home or work. Please support this channel by sharing these videos with your friends and colleagues. Hi guys, welcome to the demo video for the Sierra Chart version of our daily ATR levels indicator. ATR, of course, standing for Average True Range. This indicator was developed using input from professional traders. I didn't just make these levels up. These are levels that are actually traded by live professional traders that I know. In this video, we're going to go through the installation steps so you'll know how to install the indicator on your chart after you make a purchase. We'll also be reviewing the settings. I'll show you the historical data review. In other words, we're going to be looking at historical data, sort of an unofficial backtest, if you will. But I just want you to see how price reacts to these levels regularly, day after day, across various instruments, stocks, futures, Forex. And while we review the alerts and the settings for each of the alerts, you'll also be seeing some more of the price action and how the price reacts at these price levels. And towards the end of the video, we'll obviously be showing you where to go on our website to purchase this. You'll actually be able to enter comments if you have questions about the indicator, if you want to see specific chart types or chart timeframes or ticker symbols. We'll be glad to share with you screenshots of those before you make a purchase. We want to make sure before you purchase something from us that you are totally comfortable with the indicator and what it is able to do for you. And before we show you how to place the order, we're also going to be introducing the Pro version. So we've got this version that you see here on the chart, but we also have a Pro version which has a few added key levels that are very important for the professional traders, and I think you're really going to be excited about everything we have to show you today. So before we get into the installation instructions, this is a good time for the disclaimer. This indicator does not produce buy and sell signals. This indicator produces levels which are proven to be high reaction levels, support and resistance over time. And I'd also like to say that I am not a professional trader. I do not make my living by trading. I make my living by writing code. So I take the ideas of the professional traders and put them on a chart in a user-friendly, easy to assimilate method. So nothing in this video should be interpreted as a recommendation or an advertisement to buy or sell any financial instrument. Okay, now we've got that out of the way, let's get right into the instructions. And please pardon the interruption. This is for our thinkorswim viewers who are using the thinkorswim platform and have been a great part of my audience and success. I would like to let you know that Sierra Chart also supports your connection to TD Ameritrade. Let me go ahead and point that out for you. From the main page on Sierra Chart, we go to Data Trade Services and we scroll down and we can see all of the different data feeds that Sierra Chart can connect with. Here's one that you recognize if you're a thinkorswim user, and that's TD Ameritrade. Now you have to have a TD Ameritrade account and you have to download the Sierra Chart platform. They do provide a free trial, and after the free trial expires there is a modest monthly charge for using it, but there's no charge to connect Sierra Chart to your TD Ameritrade account. So if you have TD Ameritrade through thinkorswim, unfortunately it doesn't support things like live futures feed, but you do have stocks, you do have Forex. I just wanted to point that out to you guys because if you're one of my thinkorswim viewers and this is a Sierra Chart indicator, don't give up on the video. Watch it through, see if there's anything in here that you can't live without, and perhaps there's a possibility that in the future you can try it out using the Sierra Chart platform and give it a shot that way. Okay guys, sorry for the interruption. On with the video. In the next section of the video, we're going to show you how to import the files into the Sierra Chart platform. This is an essential step. It's going to be the same step required for all of the Sierra Chart indicators. So some of what you see is not going to apply to this particular indicator. It's going to apply to indicators in general. Okay? Just wanted to give you that heads up, but this is going to show you generally how to import files that we send to you via email into your Sierra Chart platform. Here is an email, and this is sort of what the email is going to look like. It's just an example that I used, and the first thing we want to do is go ahead and download the attached file. And you can see that there's a notice right here. The email has an attachment that allows unverified scripts to run on your computer when opened. Be careful. It may be in some cases that your email client will refuse a compressed folder entirely. In those cases, we will probably need to send you that DLL file stripped of its file extension. And then we'll have to give you instructions on how to rename the file and add the .dll back into the name of the file. I'm sorry guys, but you're dealing with Sierra Chart and there's some technical abilities that are required working with that platform. So we'll scroll down to the bottom and you will see where the attachment is on the email. And we have it right here. We have an arrow that we can click to download. You can see here that it is now downloaded to my downloads folder. So we can go ahead and click that arrow and select show in folder. And here is our compressed folder. We can right click on that folder and we can select extract all. And now that we have the files extracted, we need to copy them into a special directory that was created when you installed Sierra Chart on your computer. And there's a chance that your installation is not the same as someone else's installation. So I will show you how to find the exact path to the directory that you need to install these files. We're going to go back to Sierra Chart. We're going to go to Global Settings and select General Settings. Right here under Data Files folder, you can see a path to a folder, and that is the exact location you need to copy the DLL files. So I'm just going to use my keyboard shortcut, Control-C, to copy that. We can cancel out of here because we didn't make any changes. Now I need to go back to those folders. And let me separate these folders side by side here so that we can click and drag. Because we're going to use one folder, we're going to paste in that path. You see this path here is users Pete Hahn downloads. Well, we're going to paste that in. We can right click and select paste, or you can use a keyboard shortcut. And all you have to do is press enter. You see it's Sierra Chart /data. So we're going to press enter, and that's going to take us to the folder where these files need to be placed. Then all you need to do is click and drag to highlight, or you can click once and then press shift to select all, and then we can select copy, and then we can paste anywhere inside this folder on the left. Now I already have these files in my directory, so I'm going to skip these files. But in your case, the files will not exist and they'll automatically get copied to the correct directory. Okay, we can close these folders because we're done with that step. The indicators are now installed on your Sierra Chart platform. Before trying to add them to one of your charts, it's a good idea to close the Sierra Chart platform, save all of your work, and then reopen the Sierra Chart platform to make sure that those DLL files have been made available to the platform. So now let me show you how to add the indicators to a blank chart. In this section of the video, I'll show you how to install the indicator on your chart. Now, there are a lot of steps involved. I want you to pay very close attention. Try not to blink or you may miss something. I'll give you an idea of the number of steps involved by showing you the brief instructions that I've listed here. Let me summarize these for you. We're going to start with a brand new blank chart book. We're going to add two charts to this chart book. One is going to be a historical chart set to daily bars. The other is going to be an intraday chart set to 15-minute bars. You can adjust the 15-minute to whatever time frame you like later on. And then we're going to access the chart settings and make sure that we have a session start as well as a session end time. We're going to also make sure that the two charts are linked together. Very important, don't miss that part. And then we can add the ATR indicator to the 15-minute chart, and there'll be a few last little steps involved there. So let's go ahead and dig right in. We already have a blank chart book, so we select from the File menu, New Open Intraday Chart. I'll go ahead and scroll down to the bottom. I'm going to select Dow Mini. Good, so we've got that loaded. Now I can take this off of the maximized view and shrink this down a little bit. The next step is to go ahead and add a historical chart and set that to daily. So we'll go ahead and select the same symbol. it's already set to daily. I can see that here. So let's go ahead and bring this down over here in the bottom right. It does not matter because at the end of this process the daily chart will be minimized because you don't need to have it in view in order to be able to accomplish the rest of the steps. So let's take a quick look at where we're at. And the next thing we need to do is we need to set our session start and end times on the 15-minute chart. So let's go back to the 15-minute chart. I will right click and select chart settings. Notice when we open the chart settings window we have multiple tabs at the top. Pay very close attention because we're going to be accessing 3 different tabs from this view before we're done. So the first step here is to go ahead and adjust our start and end times. So we're going to go ahead and put this one to 0930. By the way, I am using East Coast time zone for this example. You can use whatever time zone you like. You'll just have to adjust the hours backward or forward to get it dialed in as you like. This one here gets to set to 1615, and the last one 0929. Let's go ahead and compare that and make sure that we've got it correct. Good. Alright, so what's the next one? We're going to need to then go to Advanced Settings. That's another tab on the chart settings view, and we're going to set the time zone to New York. So go to Advanced. Time zone is down here in the bottom left. Set that to New York. Our next step is to go ahead and go to Advanced Settings 2, and then we're going to set the link. Advanced Settings 2, we have a link number is set to 1, and we check this box so that we are saying basically we're linking link number 1 to the chart symbol. And we're going to do the same to the daily chart, so that way the 2 charts are going to be the same. So then we select Apply and OK, and we're done with this chart for now. The next step is we need to add a new okay, so we already added the historical chart set to daily. Then we're going to add the average true range to the daily chart, and then we're going to go to Advanced Settings, then we're going to set the link. So okay, let's see, we've got the daily chart here. I'll right click and go to Studies, and this is just a built-in study that comes with the Sierra chart. You scroll down a little bit to get to it. Average true range. You go ahead and double click to add that to the chart, and we hit Apply and OK, and there we go, we've got our daily chart. And we also now need to go to the settings. Remember, we need to go to chart settings, and we need to set the link, which is on Advanced Settings 2. So we'll go ahead and set the link to 1 and check the box for symbol. We'll hit Apply and OK, and you'll see later on as we can build a watch list that you can go ahead and set the 15-minute chart to whatever symbol you like, and it will automatically update the daily chart due to that link. Okay, so the next step is we need to go ahead, and we don't need the daily chart anymore, so we're going to go ahead and minimize that, and then we'll go ahead and add the daily ATR levels to the 15-minute chart. So we can minimize this, and now we're going to go to the 15-minute chart. We're going to right click and we're going to go to Studies, and then we go to Advanced Custom Study. Now you're not going to have this entire list. In fact, you're probably going to have a different list entirely because you might have some custom indicators that you purchased or received from someone else. So here we go. We got the HT Daily ATR levels, and it's selected right there. I'm going to select Add and hit Apply. You can see that it's been added to the chart. Let's go ahead and go to the settings and make sure that the chart study subgraph reference, which is at the very top, is set to our daily chart, which it is, and it's set to the average true range on that chart, which we just added to that daily chart, and it's plotting from the only plot that's available on that, which is the ATR. So make sure it's set up just as you see here on the screen. You want it set to the daily chart, average true range, hit Apply and OK, and if you were following along you realized, I'll hit Apply and OK here, that I'd never set this intraday chart to 15 minutes. It's set to 1 minute by default. So there it is, we set it to 15 minute. Okay, so we've shown you how to import the study into the Sierra chart platform. We've shown you then how to set up your charts so that the indicator can function correctly. And by doing so, we've also demonstrated how to add the indicator to your chart. So next we're going to review the settings. I'll go ahead and right click on the chart and I'll select Studies. I've already got the study highlighted here. We'll go to Settings. You can see this first setting, we've already dealt with that one. That is the one that is part of installing and adding it to a chart. So what we've got here first are the alert settings. Now we're going to cover those later on in the video when we show you how to do the alerts. Also this one right here, quantity of ticks before alert level, we're also going to cover that later on in the video when we show you how to do alerts. So let's skip down here to the next one. We've got a series of multipliers. You can see that we have levels plus 1 through 3 and we have levels minus 1 through 3. And the levels plus and minus 1 are set to 50. Those are your multipliers and you can adjust those if you want. And we have plus and minus 2. Those levels are set to 100 each. So those become your 100 ATRs as we call them. And finally you have the plus and minus levels 3. Those are set to 120. Those become your 120 ATRs. Next we have a setting that tells whether or not to display the line labels. In this case it's set to yes. If you change that to no and hit apply, the labels disappear. Now the labels are handy, but once you get familiar with the style and color of each line, you may not want to display the labels, so we permit you to turn those on or off based upon this setting. We have right side fill space. So that also will allow you to change the amount of empty space to the right hand of the last bar on the chart. Let's set it to 0, hit apply. You can see that there's 0 fill space and the labels are not visible. If you're not displaying labels, then you might want to set the right side fill space to 0. You can change it to 20. Some people like to have a lot of right side fill space on their chart, and that's completely up to you. We set it to 10 as a default because that is the most optimum level used to display the labels. Now this is the one we're going to be reviewing when we review the historical data, which is coming up soon, and that is the number of days to plot. So we don't need to review that setting right here because we're going to be reviewing that when we show you the historical data. So about the only other thing to show you here are the subgraphs. Now the subgraphs are simply the prior day high, prior day low, prior day close. Those are the first 3. You can see those labeled on the chart, and then you have your ATR labels. So you can adjust the style, the color, and the size of each of your levels. And if you're familiar with Sierra Chart Platform, which I'm assuming at this stage of the video you already are very familiar with adjusting inputs for different plots, there's really nothing more that I need to show you here other than to show you that's where the plots are located. Okay, we'll go ahead and cancel out of here and cancel out of here. And the next thing we're going to be showing you is the historical data. You're really going to be excited about this. Keep your eyes open, don't blink. I really think you're going to be amazed when you see how consistently prices react at these levels. I want to take some time to explain to you these levels, their significance, where they are derived. They come from the daily time frame. The daily time frame is where you have your average true range indicator, and it is then computed onto an intraday chart so that you have your daily average true range represented on an intraday chart. And you have a multiplier that you can apply to each one of these. You'll see those multipliers as I add the labels into the lines so that you can see what those multipliers are set to. And I want to also explain to you that these levels didn't just come out of thin air. I didn't make them up. These are levels that come from a variety of professional traders whom I have learned from, and I am still learning to trade this indicator. I want to explain to you that these lines are places where the price is expected to have a reaction. Now there are no buy and sell signals with this indicator. We don't provide buy and sell signals. We simply provide alerts when price draws near to any of these levels that you see on the chart. And the idea is for you to determine through your own research and learning from other professional traders how to best make use of the price reacting at these various levels. This right here, what you're seeing on the chart, this is Columbus Day. This is holiday trade. And you can see that the price is reacting to these levels. However, it's holiday light trade. I really wouldn't put a lot of weight on this. what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the settings for the indicator, and I'm going to turn on the historical data plots. So you're going to see these lines extend out to the left, and we'll probably have to draw this into like maybe an hourly chart so that you can get a good view of how the price reacts to these different levels day after day after day after day. Okay, so let's go ahead and set that up. We'll go ahead and right click and select Studies, and you can see I've already got that study highlighted. We'll go to Settings, and we want to see number of days to plot. Right now it's set to 1. That means no historical data, only current intraday trade. Let's go ahead and set that to 10. We may increase it later on if we want. Also, I want to turn on the labels. Set to no by default. Turn the labels on. We'll hit apply and OK. And we can hit apply and OK. So now you can see that we're also plotting lines in the historic data. And you can see if I just scroll through here real quickly that those lines are almost always in play almost every day of the week. So we've got more data on here available. So let me go ahead and change that setting to give us historical data plotting of, let's just go back 20 days. I don't want to spend all day doing this. We got to keep the videos short, but I also want to make sure that I impress upon you the value of these levels for trading decisions. I'm going to set this from a 15-minute to an hourly. That way we can compress as much time on this chart as possible. Let me go ahead and scroll all the way to the left until we get to the end of those lines. And then let me go ahead and point out some of these things to you. Probably they're already jumping off the chart at you as you're looking at it. But let me go ahead and point out a few of these levels. I don't want to clutter up the chart with a bunch of drawings, so let me just go ahead and turn on the crosshairs. And that way, as I click on the chart and drag across, you can see where my cursor lies. You can see right here is a spot where the price reacted very strongly against that level. We can see over here that same level was a support level throughout the day until very nearly the close, in which case it fell through, and then it went ahead and hit this next level here. So you can see that the price reacted very strongly there. It rallied all the way into the next day. And let's see, we'll go ahead and look over here. You can see that we again had a big sell-off here, and where did it stop? Stopped right in between those two levels. Pretty much right at that level. It really didn't ever make it down to this other level here. And so it might help if I go ahead and call these levels the ATR 50, the ATR 100, and the ATR 120. The labels that I turned on are showing up at the far right hand side of the screen. So I just want to point that out to you here on the video so that you can understand what's going on. Let me scroll to the right a little bit to put some more data on the chart so you can see how the price is reacting on these levels. Once again, the ATR 50 is in play here. The ATR 50 is in play twice here, and look at this. It actually, the ATR 50 plus and the ATR 50 minus actually created bookends around the price action for the day. And again, the next day we had the ATR 50 was in play, and price reacted very strongly here. ATR plus 50, price was held to a ceiling there. And let's see, this one here looks like we managed to bust through, but we couldn't make it to the next one. That's sort of not a very big reaction there to the ATR 50 on that day. So let's go ahead and scroll a little bit more. And on some days, and this is one of those days right here where you can see initially it is a resistance level, all right, and then it pushes up again and it stalls again, and then finally has a big push through. When this happens, this is a very, very rare event. I don't know the exact statistics as far as is this a 2 standard deviation or 3 standard deviation, but it's very, very rare when price can actually pull up through the ATR 120 or below the ATR minus 120 and continue to push through like this. So this again is another opportunity. I can't tell you how to trade. I can't tell you when to buy and sell, but you should be able to tell that there's a possible setup there if you know how to manage your trades. So the following day we can see that the ATR 100 and the ATR 120 were the ceiling of the day. This is a very interesting thing too, I find, that you can see that once price breaks through the ATR 50, very often that signals that it's going to continue on to the ATR 100 and the ATR 120 as long as the buying or selling pressure continues on. Here again, you can see that we made a push up into the ATR 50, and then we skyrocketed, and look at that, we stuck dead right at the ATR 100. So you can see, if you're a trader, I don't have to tell you how to buy and sell and how to trade this, but you can see the opportunities. That might be where you take profits. You might have a strategy that gets you long earlier on in the day, and you haven't realized that this level has been in play because you didn't have the indicator. You always realize, well, it stalls out here. I don't know when it's going to go higher. It's not. But you didn't realize that this level here was holding things back. Next, I want to show you a couple of stocks, because we're looking at Dow Mini futures. But does this really work on stocks? So let me go ahead and thumb through a few ETFs and a few stocks. I even got Forex here. And just want to give you guys an example, an overview of how the price reacts to these levels across various instruments. We're also going to have what I would call a live demo. It's not really a live demo. Fortunately, with Sierra Chart, we have something called bar replay. So we're able to replay historical data on the chart. It's very useful for learning how to trade a setup. I'm going to use it to explain how the alerts work. And that's coming up in a future section of the video. So let's go ahead and thumb through a few of these charts and look at some other instruments. Okay, let's begin by looking at the Euro-US dollar pair. That's a Forex pair. And again, I got to keep this video brief, but I want to show you at least some of these places where the price is reacting on these other instruments. You can see we've got a reaction over here. You got another reaction here. I'll go ahead and there's another at an ATR 50 level. And let's scroll back a little bit more here. And I'm going to go fast here, but you can just pause the video if you have an instrument that you like to play and you see something that you want to study. You go ahead and pause the video and just check it out. There it is. Okay, so let me go ahead and bring this all the way to the right. And again, you can see these labels that I turned on. The labels are only present on the current intraday data. So you've got at the top, you've got the ATR plus 120, then you got the ATR plus 100, the ATR plus 50. We'll go and show you how you can adjust these later. But then you've got previous day high, previous day close. Previous day close, that is almost always a crucial level for intraday trade. And you've got the ATR minus 50. You've got the previous day low, which is also another key level for many days of trading. In fact, I'm looking at the chart over here on the left. I can see one right there. And let's see, you've got the ATR minus 100 and the ATR minus 120. So hopefully that'll help you keep track of things. And when I scroll back and look at these charts, you can tell which level is which. Let's see. Oh, let's look at soybeans. Okay, so you want to know if it works on futures of another kind. Here you can see an ATR 50 reaction, and you can see we opened at the ATR 50 on this case, and here we also stalled out at the ATR 100, fell back. You can see, let's see what else we got. You can see an overnight low in play over here. Let's scroll back a little bit, and boy, that's a great example. Look at that. Prices went right up to the ATR 120, stopped dead, and fell over. This doesn't happen very frequently, okay, but it happens often enough that my trading partner Larry makes quite a lot of money on these kinds of plays. He doesn't do soybeans, but he does do the YM. So let's go ahead and look at some ETFs. Let's look at the Qs, okay? Let's scroll back here a little bit. We can put more data onto the chart with the Qs because there's not a lot of overnight trading going on there. Let's see, we've got overnight high, no, that's previous day high, and then you got the close was in play, and then you've got, look at that, you got an ATR 50 right here was in play there. It almost held it here at the ATR 120. Again, you got an example of prices pulling up and through the ATR 50, pulling back to it, and then taking off. Again, over here, you've got the ATR 50 as bookends for the entire day's worth of trading. I don't think I need to show you too much more of these before you become a believer. Let's go look at Apple. Let's scroll back on the Apple chart here. And I haven't cherry-picked these, guys. I just load them because I've been looking at this long enough. I know that these levels are reactionary. They don't always work. There's no holy grail in the markets. They don't always work. But look at this right here. You got to push up and through the ATR 50 Previously it was resistance, then it pulls back down to it and then takes off. And then where does it stop? It stops dead right at the ATR 120 and another big pullback. My trading partner Larry is a big fader. He fades. His instinct, I should say, is to fade any large moves, and he looks for key support and resistance levels, and this indicator provides for him a very crucial component in his trading toolbox. Let's take a look at IBM, because they're not very widely talked about on CNBC, are they? I don't think they are. They're not like Facebook and the Twitter, who are always on CNBC. But you can see, again, the levels are in play. You get the ATR 50. Look at this. It pushes up to the ATR 100, pulls back down to the ATR 50, and even touches the previous day high, and then launches back again and stops dead up at the ATR 100. They're all over the chart here. You can see I don't need to point out every single one of them. And we do want to keep the video brief, but this should give you enough exposure to understand the value of this indicator, guys. So I just wanted to show this to you. Now, we also want to show you how the alerts work, because every indicator that's of any use really needs to have some alerts. We can alert every pink line that's on the chart you see here. And I can show you how we set those alerts, how we can adjust those alerts, and then you'll be able to go ahead and set this indicator up exactly how you like to trade it. Okay, so let's go ahead and cover how to set up and adjust the alerts. I'm going to go ahead and switch this back to the Dow Mini, and let's just look for a spot where we can get a good indication of an alert. We're going to trigger on alert on this. Actually, I'm going to change this from a 1 hour probably down to something like a 15-minute or a 5-minute chart, but I want it to be on right around 10:30 on October 5th. That's when I'm going to hit the replay. So we're going to go to October 5th. And for those of you who don't know how to use bar replay on Sierra chart, this is not meant to be an instruction on how to do so. So you may have some questions on, hey, how do you use that? I'll cover that in a future video, absolutely. I'm going to do the same thing with Sierra chart as I've done with Thinkorswim. I'm going to provide as much knowledge and training as I can to the trading community so that you guys are able to use the tool to their utmost. So let's see, we went at 10:30, didn't we? Yeah, 10, that's 10:15, this is 10:30. And we want to do a single chart, and everything's good here. We'll hit play. Okay, so now we're looking at October 5th, just before 10:30. Okay, so we're just before the point where this next bar is going to reach up and tag this level here, the ATR plus 100. So let's go make sure that our alerts are turned on. I'm going to right click on the chart and select Studies. Then I'm going to select Settings. You can see we've got Alert 1 is disabled. Alert 2 is disabled. Alert 3 is set to Alert Sound 1. Now what does all that mean? Well, you've got multipliers here. You see your multiplier for plus 3 is 120. Your multiplier for plus 2, 100. So you can see that the levels go from lower to higher, 1, 2, and 3. So level 1 is your 50 ATR, level 2 is your 100 ATR, level 3 is your 120 ATR, okay? You can adjust these settings right here in the chart settings, and your alerts will automatically adapt to whatever it is that you set those multipliers to. It'll change the levels, it will change the alerts, everything is set together. Okay, so now you understand the levels, level 1, 2, and 3. Let's go ahead and get into the alerts. You can see that by default, alert level 3 is already set to alert sound 1. You can adjust that here, and you can disable an alert by selecting alert disabled. You can set it to alert visually but not audibly by selecting no alert sound. So we're going to leave this one set to alert 1. We have alert 2, which as I said was the ATR 100. So we're going to go ahead and set that to alert sound number 2. And then we want alert level 1. We want to go ahead and set that one up too, and let's set that to alert level 3. So now I've turned on the alert levels for all 3 of these, and all we need to do now is use the bar replay to step forward in time until these alerts are triggered. But let me go ahead, while we're waiting on that chart to trigger, let me go ahead and show you where you set these alert sound levels. Okay, that's very important that you understand that. You set it up here on the indicator, but you also need to set them under your global settings. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at that. And apply and OK. Apply and OK. And then from global settings, we want to go ahead and select general settings. And you can see that in the third tab of general settings, we have our alert settings. So alert 1 is set to alert sound.wave, and let's go ahead and see if alert 2 has been set. Yep. And then that's how you go through and you just thumb through this. Okay, so alert 3 is set to 3 beeps.wave, and you just keep thumbing through here, and eventually there's blong 2.wave, level 5. So these are not set by default when you install the platform, so you'll have to go ahead and assign these yourselves. See, I've already assigned levels 1 through 4, but 5 and beyond are not assigned. So I wanted to make sure you understood that. Very important. I'm just going to cancel out of this, and I want to go ahead and show you the alert setting one more time, because a very important thing that I left out. We go to settings, and we go ahead and look at this right here, quantity of ticks before alert level. It defaults to 0, which means what? Which means we have to cross the level before the alert is triggered. If you set this to a positive integer, and I recommend only a positive integer, I haven't tested it with negatives, so I can't guarantee what will happen. But if you set it to any positive integer, it's going to say that many ticks. So, and it's going to depend on the instrument. So we got 1 point ticks on the YM, we got quarter point ticks on ES, and so on. So keep that in mind. So the goal there, though, is that you can be alerted when it approaches the alert line rather than after it crosses. It just depends on how you want to play these signals and what your trading strategy determines. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and let you know how that works. So cancel out of that, cancel out of that. Now we're going to go ahead and step through this chart. We currently set to an hourly chart. Let's drop it down to a 15-minute chart, and let's go ahead and start stepping through the chart. Okay, see that one, that bar right there is getting pretty close, and we're going to step through ahead another 5 minutes, and boom, you can see right there it went right to the line and pulled back. It happens pretty frequently there. So the high of that bar was not enough to trigger the alert. Why? Because the alert is set to trigger only after it crosses that line. We didn't tell it to alert ahead of that line. For the next example, we'll go ahead and set that parameter so that it alerts before or ahead of that line. Okay, so let's go ahead and step through this a little bit more. Each time I press this button, we're jumping ahead 5 minutes. There you go. So the alert pops up, gives us our text readout here. You heard the audible also. And so again, as soon as it crossed that line, the alert triggered, and that's because of the way we have things set up. So the next example I'm going to show you is basically this same trading day. I remember I looked back in the history, and on a 1 hour chart I saw that we hit both of these lines. So the next one it's going to hit is the ATR 100, and let me go ahead and adjust the settings. I'm going to clear the log and close that. We're going to right click on the chart, go to settings, and I'm going to go to settings here again, and for the quantity of ticks before alert level I'm going to select 10. And that's just an arbitrary number I picked out of the air, guys. Don't think that that means anything. There's no special sauce here. Okay, apply and OK, and then all we need to do is step through the bars until we find that it hits 10 ticks below that ATR 100. Okay, so each time I click this button, it's going to progress the chart forward 5 minutes. There it is, 1 tick beyond that level, which was 10 ticks below or ahead of the ATR 100. So that's how we set up that alert, and that's how the alert gets triggered when you have it set to alert ahead of the alert line. Guys, that's all I've got to show you on the alerts, and we're going to move on to the next section. Okay, now that you've had a chance to review the historical data as well as see the alerts and how the prices react when the alerts are triggered, I know that you're very excited to see how you can place an order for this indicator, but I also know that some of you have some questions in the back of your mind saying, how does it plot on a 512 tick chart of ES? Or how does it plot on a range bar or Renko bars or point and figure? Well, okay, I get it. So let's go ahead and quickly review some different chart types, some different time settings, so that you guys can see how the levels will plot on the various time frames. Now the levels are all calculated from the daily time frame. So regardless of what you set your intraday chart to, the levels will either plot correctly at these levels or they will vanish from your screen. There are some levels that aren't compatible with certain time frames. We'll get into that when we get to the Pro version. So let's go ahead and review some charts for you. Well, we're on YM. Why not look at the 512 tick chart of YM? So there's a 512 tick chart. Let's see what else we can get into. We go to chart settings. And I am more familiar with TradeStation when it comes to the different types of charts. So you'll have to bear with me here as I fumble through some of this stuff. We have range bar, standard. Yeah, let's do a range bar, standard. 10 ticks. Let's see, this is the YM. Yeah, we could probably do 10. Let's hit apply and OK. Alright, so there you go. You can see that we've got now 10 point wide or 10 tick wide range bars on YM. We go to chart settings again and try a different type. Let's see, we've got range bars. Let's do a Renko bar with the same number of ticks. Hit apply and OK. And you can see that that is the Renko bars now. And let's see, we'll right click on the chart, go to chart settings, and what else do we have? Something else that jumps out at me. We've got monthly bars. What else? Volume per bar. Now this is something I'm more familiar with the ES. Let's hit apply here. That's 1,000. Well, that didn't work out too bad. So just by chance, 1,000 volume per bar seemed to have worked out pretty well for the YM. But again, you can see that consistently, no matter what time frame we set this to, it's always plotting the same levels because it's pulling from the daily time frame. So regardless of what you're looking to plot on the intraday time frames, most likely you're not going to have any issues. If you have something specific in mind that I haven't covered in the video, by all means, when you place your order, I'll show you where to fill out the comments, and you can ask to request screenshots. Just tell us what instrument you want to see and what time frame you want to see. We want you to be very comfortable before you make a purchase decision. Okay, let's see if we can get into something like a point and figure chart. Point and figure we select from the right on graph draw types. And then we also need to make the change here on the bar period type. We scroll down to the bottom. We see the very last item here is point and figure bar. I'm going to leave it as a default 10 and 1. I don't know enough about point and figure to understand that and whether it's going to be applicable to the YM or not, so forgive me for that. But all we want to do is see whether the lines will plot at their appropriate levels with a point and figure. So let's hit apply and OK, and then there we go. Now to me that looks like we might need to shrink the box size down a little bit. Let's go to chart settings and let's reduce that by half to 5, hit apply, so we get a little bit more. Yeah, it was maybe a tight range on YM today. So there you go, guys. You got point and figure charts too. Okay, so next we're going to show you the Pro version. Now the Pro version is going to add a few more key levels, and those levels again derive directly from input from professional traders. I'm sure you're going to really appreciate having the Pro option. And now it's time to introduce the Pro version of the daily ATR levels indicator. You can see I've got two charts, left and right. They both have the standard version of the indicator loaded. However, the chart on the right has got extended hours displayed. We're going to switch over to a futures contract because doing so will allow me to demonstrate the extra levels with the Pro version a little bit more clearly. So first I wanted you to see that the indicators, the Pro version and the standard version, side by side have many things in common. So let me go ahead and adjust the right hand chart, and we'll go ahead and remove the standard version, and I'm just going to right click on the chart and select studies. We'll remove the standard version, which is here, then we'll hit apply. Then we can go to add custom study, and I'm going to go down here to the Pro version, HT Pro daily ATR levels, click add, and I think I want to turn on the labels. Yes, I do. We'll hit apply. Okay, we can just hit OK here. And so now you see for the ATR levels, we've got identical match side by side. They both have the same ATR levels. They both have the same previous day close. The previous day high is the same. What is here additionally that you don't have on the standard version is you have an overnight high and an overnight low, as well as a first hour open and a first hour close. So we essentially have a opening range on this indicator on the Pro version. So let's go ahead and switch over to a futures contract, so that way we can demonstrate this a little bit more clearly. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll right click on the chart and select studies so that we can go ahead and look at the settings of this Pro version. We'll go to settings. You can see that we have today's open time is set at 9:30. First hour close is set at 10:30. Now you're going to have to adjust this depending on what you have your chart set to. I've got my chart set to New York, which is East Coast time frame. And for that I want to make sure today's open is always set to 9:30 and that the first hour close is set 1 hour after that. If you are using some other time zone and have set your charts up to Central or Pacific, you're going to have to adjust these two settings accordingly so that today's open time and first hour close time are appropriate for your time zone settings. So let's go to the subgraphs real quickly here, and I want to scroll down here and we'll show you that we have an overnight high and overnight low, today's open and first hour close, in addition to what is included in the standard version. Let's go ahead and click cancel because we're done looking at the settings now, and I want to point out these levels. So we're looking at the ES, this is the E-mini S&P futures. We can see now, let's open this up a little bit so we can see all of the data that's relevant. You can see the green line here, that green line is the overnight high, and you can see that overnight high was achieved right here. Okay, maybe it tapped it a couple of times. Okay, and then I'll move my cursor down here. You can see the red line. The red line is the overnight low. So it's before the market opens. It's not including the cash session, and that's where it made the overnight low. So the other two levels that we see here, and we're on a 15-minute chart, I can reduce this down to, let's say, a 5-minute chart, and that will help us to see things a little bit more clearly. And I probably want to manipulate this range a little bit so that we can see more information. This thing actually works exactly the opposite of TradeStation, and that is why you're seeing me fumble around with this so much. I apologize for that if it made anyone dizzy. Alright, so we've got this, you see this dashed white line right here? That is the session start time, and that we get from the beginning of this video. We covered the chart settings and we said you need to set this up with a start time of 9:30 and an end time of 16:14 and 59 seconds. Everything outside of that is evening session, right? I wanted to point that out to you. Let cancel here. That's where that white dotted line comes from, and that is why we have at the open of this candle that yellow line extending to the right. That is your daily open. So it automatically plots as soon as the market opens, the line appears, and it stays there the rest of that intraday trade. You also notice that we have here at the 10:30 mark, the close of that bar anyway, is another line. That's kind of a darker yellow line, and that is the first hour close. So between the two of those, you have your opening range. I wanted to zoom in on that because when we look at that in the previous view, those lines are right on top of each other and very difficult to see. But I wanted to let you guys know about this Pro version. Again, these extra levels were provided through the input of professional traders, and they explain how to use this, and they assure me that these are key levels for intraday trading that they use on a regular basis. So that's why they're included, and that's why we have them in the Pro version. Okay guys, there is one more thing I want to show you. That line right there, the yellow line for the daily open and the daily close, there's something very peculiar about that in that the time frame, it's only going to work on a time-based chart. So tick charts, not going to work. Range bar charts, not going to work. What you need to have is a time-based chart, so something set to minutes, and the minutes needs to be able to divide into the number 30. Why? Well, it's 9:30 is the start time. So 30 is the number of minutes. Okay, so 9:30, 30 minutes. So if you can divide 5 into 30 without having any remainder, then we can certainly acquire the daily open and the first hour close. However, if we were to set the chart to something that is not divisible into 30, then those lines would vanish from the screen. They won't plot. That's by intention, that's by design. If we can't calculate the value correctly, we simply make the line disappear. So don't panic when you put in a 39-minute chart and those lines don't show up. Okay guys, very excited about this, and now I'm really excited to show you how to place an order. We've made it so much easier to order products from us, and previously you had to watch a video and wait till the end of the video to find out what the link was. It was hidden, it was secret. Why? Because I felt very conscious about this, that I wanted people to understand the indicator before they purchased it. I just didn't want people going and buying stuff and not knowing, not understanding what it did, how to use it, how to set it up, how to install it. So we go to our website, and here it is right here. It's right here front and center. You just go to www.hahn-tech.com. It's our main website, and right there in the main menu, Premium Chart Indicators. You can see as I scroll through here, we've got a Thinkorswim section. We also have a section on TradeStation, and we have a section on Sierra Chart. And this indicator that we're discussing right now is going to be included right here where the construction sign is. And we're going to put that thumbnail right there, and we're going to put the links up, and everything's going to be wired up and hooked up, and you're going to be able to buy both the standard and the pro version of the daily ATR levels indicator. Now I'll show you how to place your order. You just click to open the Sierra Chart order form. And we've got an order form right here. Anybody who's purchased from us before understands how this order form works. Let me click a couple of buttons here and show you how it works. When you make a selection that includes a discount, we go ahead and display that discount, calculate that discount for you right here on the screen so that you can see what your grand total is and your discount percentage right here. Anytime that you make a selection and there are no discounts included, then that means that we don't offer a discount for that selection. So that's how that works. It's pretty easy. Now what we're going to do at the time of publishing this video, there'll be a couple of radio buttons here, one for the standard, one for the pro version of the daily ATR levels. So that's it. You fill in your first and last name, your email address, you make your selections. If you have a question, I've been telling you throughout the entire video, if you have a question, this is where you do it. You just go ahead and click that box. It opens up the comments and questions, and you type in whatever it is that you want, whatever your concerns are, whatever your questions are, and I encourage you to do so if you have any questions at all. And then be sure and read this. This tells you exactly what's going to happen next. Okay, so everything is handled by a human being. We don't have any automated process by now. It's a handheld operation from start to finish. And when you press that submit button, it puts everything in motion. Okay, and if you want to read the instructions up here, that's very important too. We encourage everyone to watch the video before they make a purchase. And one last thing I wanted to show you is at the very bottom of this order screen, we've got, that's actually the bottom of our premium chart indicator screen, we've got the share buttons. So please, please, please take advantage of this. If you don't use the Sierra Chart platform, but you use TradeStation or you use Thinkorswim, and you spot something on here that you know one of your friends are going to really find value, then make sure you use these buttons down here, share, and make sure you get the word out. That will help me to continue to provide the free tools and services and knowledge and training that I provide on our website and our Q&A forum and our YouTube channel. Okay guys, that's all I've got to show for today. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you and take care. Thank you for watching this tutorial video. Be sure to visit www.hahn-tech.com for the full library of tutorials. I hope this video increases your knowledge and helps you become more efficient with this topic, whether for home or work. Please support this channel by sharing these videos with your friends and colleagues. Thanks and take care.